Hello everyone, my name is Jen and welcome to the Book Refuge. Hi everyone and welcome to another recommendations video, and today we're doing one that's a bit of a mashup of kind of three different things, but they're all very related, and as you can tell from the title, it is romances that have to do with the sea. So this is including like pirates, sea creatures, as well as I do have one or two that are more just like nautical, or like they take a good place, they take a good amount of time on the sea or something like that. And you'll see how we break this down. The way I'm going to break this down is ones that are pirates, ones that are, as I said, like sea creatures or creatures we would normally connect with the sea. You'll see what I mean. Even though a couple of those ones don't actually take place like on the ocean, you'll see based on the type of monster romance that it is that why I picked them. And then I have a couple that are just historical. So they're pirate slash like privateer. There's a bit difference. And then I have one that is a like survival romance. So this video is actually sponsored by my channel members. So once a month they get to vote on a video that they really want me to do and one that they're sponsoring. So thank you so much to my channel members for doing that. If you'd like to support my channel in any way, you can check that out. Channel memberships generally are kind of a lower amount to support, whereas my Patreon, I have some higher amounts to support what I do here, but I am pretty much completely like supporter funded on this channel, and if you want to see more amazing recommendation videos, check that out. Finally, I was actually suggested this video by Sarah and Honey. I have a video recommendation form down below where I get ideas for some of my videos from, and I straight up had like someone asking for pirate romances. I've had that a few times, right? And then I also had someone asking for like sea creature and siren romances, and so some of those are all going to be squished together in this video. So I think I have a total of like 12 or 13 recs that cover everything. So let's go ahead and dive in. So first off, we're going to start with ones that are like magical pirates. So yeah, we're going to do that. Then we will do the ones that are pirates but not magical. And then we will do the creatures. So that's how we're going to break this up. So starting off, we have one that I read just at the end of 2024, and I'm ashamed it took me so long to get to it, but I was a bit nervous by like how long it was. Now this one, at the time, it functioned as a standalone. I have not read another book that's kind of connected with this one, but I do know that Karina Halley did have another book come out that kind of also fit along these lines. I don't know, but I read A Ship of Bones and Teeth, and it read very much as a standalone to me. And I believe whatever book comes next will focus on other characters, so we'll say it's a standalone. But anyway, this one actually begins as kind of like The Little Mermaid went wrong, and we had a heroine who was actually like a mermaid, and she fell in love with a prince on land, you know, basically Eric, and so she was transformed into a person to marry him. Only things have gone bad, you know. It's that song of like what happened to Cinderella afterwards type of thing. Well, in this case, the Little Mermaid, she ended up in an abusive relationship, and so yeah, but she kind of gave up being a mermaid slash like a siren type person so that she could marry this man, and she felt very constricted by her family, only to be now like taken from the sea and never to be able to do that again. But at the beginning of this book, her shitbag husband is coming to the end of the line because they end up getting taken over by this pirate who he is looking for the answer to something. And the ship that he's a part of is a bit of like a Pirates of the Caribbean ship. Like there's a curse on his men that's basically made them a certain type of creature, which I don't want to spoil, but this very much was a true kind of like enemies situation, because the this pirate captain man is trying to get information from our heroine that he believes that she will know, And the thing is like, she does know some of it, but it's been a long time since, you know, she's been in the ocean and been like a part of what's going on. And so he has kept her captive, and he is trying to use some seduction techniques. So there's a bit of dubious consent where at one point he has her kind of tied up, and he's trying to convince her to share this information with him. And things kind of go back and forth between them. Now, this has a lot of feminine rage in it. At some points, it was the kind of feminine rage where I'm like, you're not even being logical. But Karina Halley brought it back around, because the things that happened to this woman, you know, I'm not like, let's be clear, I'm not against reading feminine rage in books at all. In fact, there's a lot that I really like. I just want, when you put it in there, to it have a logical reason and to really be like a point of the story, not just to turn into a man bashing fest, because I'm reading romance. I want there to be men that I, you know, would want for myself. That's why I'm reading the romance, not because it's a blanket statement about anything else. Anyway, sorry that I felt the need to explain that. But my point being, sometimes when I read a feminine rage in a romance like that, it then makes the romance unbelievable, if that makes sense. Because you're like, how can this woman ever love a man? Because there's so much rage boiling on her. This should just be like a women's fiction thing, right? That's what I mean. But Karina Halley brought it back around to me, and I truly believed the romance between these two, and that's why this book kind of shocked me. And I love when that happens. So anyway, this isn't supposed to be a full-on review video. This is recommendation, but I did end up enjoying that a lot. And I mean, it's not a surprise that I would like Karina Halley, but the way that everyone talked about it, I was kind of like nervous it would have that thing where it's like, will I believe the romance between these two by the end? That's where there's a fine line, because I definitely love some revenge and some feminine rage, but I also want to still believe in the love at the end of the day. Okay, then we have The Ever King by L.J. Andrews, whatever it is. But this is a spin-off series from one of her other series, but it was actually the first book that I read by her because I was preparing to read The Mist Thief. So I listened to The Ever King, and this one you're going to hear me compare a lot of these to Pirates of the Caribbean because, yeah, that is what a lot of people are going for when they tell stories like this, so just know that. But in this, we have another Eric, that's funny, who he was at one point kept kidnapped by the families, by the heroine's family, and she actually helped him escape. But now it's many years later, and he is now the king of his people. His father has died. His father was very wicked. And there's something that was left behind in her family's realm when he was a child, and he needs to come back and get it. So his whole goal coming back to get it is he's going to use her as leverage. So he's going to kidnap her to get it. The thing he doesn't know is that she's actually the one who has the item that he needs, and her family has no clue that she has this thing. So he's not really going to be able to use her as the leverage, but he also has taken her and the thing himself. So it's very interesting. He takes her back to the Ever realm. And the part of this one that really made me think of Pirates of the Caribbean is it's his ship that's able to do it. Like, it actually goes like underwater through this thing and it brings them up in the other realm or whatever. And that very much reminded me kind of like, you know, in Pirates where the ship's able to, like, is it Davy Jones' ship that's able to do that? It's very interesting. I loved the romance between Eric and the heroine, who her name went out of my head, but I loved these two. And this one is a duet, though this is like part of a series. This series has been delayed because guess what? L.J. Andrews has been picked up for publication, which is often what happens with these fantasy books that are so good. So the first 3 books are available. The first 2 are a duet. The third one is like a standalone romance, but like you should read them all. And then there's going to be the next one, which I really enjoyed this one. We spend a good amount of time on his ship at different points, and I just really loved the magic in that for sure. Then there is also Daughter of the Pirate King, but I'm actually going to, I know a lot of people talk about that one. I'm actually going to recommend Vengeance of the Pirate Queen, because this one is a standalone within this world. So you can read the duet that is Daughter of the Pirate King and Daughter of the Siren Queen. And that is a really good duet, and a lot of people will recommend that one. But I feel like Vengeance of the Pirate Queen doesn't get enough love either. And I actually was able to listen to an ALC of this one. I was shook that I got that. And in this one, we actually have a female captain who like works under the Pirate Queen. So there is Serinda, and she's an assassin for Alosa. So Alosa is the daughter of the Pirate King, daughter of the Siren Queen, right? She was a mix between those two. And Alosa, it has a task for her that is not to kill, but to captain a crew on a secret mission. And so she gets sent on this trip, and her sailing master is Kieran, and he's the best helmsman that the Pirate Queen has, but she finds him to be a pain in the butt, and it's actually because she's super attracted to him type of thing. But they need to go on this journey to the, does it say where they need to go? The king, yeah, they accidentally awaken the king of the undersea, and then they need to go on a trek to kind of save everyone from becoming undead. Let's just say that. Okay. So I know I probably explained that pretty poorly. It's been a hot minute since I read this one, but also again, I don't think it gets the love that Daughter of the Pirate Queen did, or Pirate King. And I enjoyed it so much. And this heroine, she is a badass. She's an assassin. She's super tough. Should she really be written like she is 18, 19 years old? Probably not. But this does fit in kind of the young adult, new adult era. So that's why. But I still found this to be very engaging. There still is some romance in here. And I just thought it was great. So highly recommend that one. So now let's go on to ones that are pirates / like privateer stuff going on. So of course, I won't talk about this one too much because y'all know that if there is a pirate romance that pops up, there's got to be Sea of Ruin. But also, Sea of Ruin is one of my favorite dark romances of all time. So if I didn't show it, I would also not be being genuine to myself. But this one is actually a dark romance with a female pirate named Bennett, and she actually is married in the beginning of this, but she's estranged from her husband, whose name is Priest. And then there is a pirate hunter named Ashley, who is after her and him. He's after all pirates. And pretty early on in this story, he actually captures her, and he's going to take her back to England to hang for her crimes. And she's going to use her womanly wiles as well as her sharp mind to try to keep that from happening. And so she's going to try to seduce Ashley Cutler, but will she be able to? We shall see. So I absolutely adore this. This is the twisted fiction version of it. I have, I believe, 5 different editions of Sea of Ruin, and I will happily continue to collect them forever and ever because this is one of my favorite books of all time, and it's really good. Okay, there is The Devil and the Deep Blue Sea by Amelia Wilde. This is a trilogy, and this one is modern day one. I did want to fit in a couple modern day ones in here. So this one is about this girl who she is actually out with her boyfriend on a yacht. And she has a rich boyfriend, and he owes these like drug guys some money, and they actually end up stopping the boat and killing her boyfriend. And so she jumps overboard and is able to get away, but she gets picked up by another boat, which is actually headed by a modern day pirate who, once he's rescued her, she tells him everything that's happened to her, and he realizes that she's actually worth a lot of money. So instead of just sending her home, he's going to, hold her for ransom until her daddy pays for her. And so, yeah, this is a like bait and switch thing. You think she's being rescued, but now she's actually being held captive. This is also a part of a world from Amelia Wilde that it's like the Greek gods reimagined. So this is actually a Poseidon retelling as well, which is cool. And there's another trilogy by her that is like Zeus. And I think there's another trilogy that is like Hades as well. I think I've read the Hades trilogy and I've read this one, but I didn't read the Zeus one. I'm not always super into trilogies when they're coming out, but here's the thing. This whole trilogy is out. You can I think you can get them all as a bind up these days, so you can read them all at once. But definitely there if you like pirates, if you want to read some modern day pirates. Of course, there's going to be a little bit of kinky kink happening in here too, because that is what Amelia Wilde does, but there you go. Okay, now we have a few historical ones to share. Of course we do. So this one is a bit more of a privateer or like an undercover pirating operation here. And this is The Charm School by Susan Wiggs. So this one actually has, I will just read this back to you because it's been a while. I read this one almost 2 years ago, so I'm just going to read the back to you. But this was, as it says, very charming. So this one has, there's a captain that abandoned society, and society has abandoned her. So, an awkward misfit is in an accomplished Boston family, Isadora Peabody yearns to escape her social isolation and sneaks aboard the Silver Swan, which is bound for Rio, leaving it all behind. Ryan Calhoun, too, had a good family name, but he'd purposely walked away from everything it afforded him. Driven by his quest to right an old wrong, the fiery, temperamental sea captain barely registers the meek young woman who comes aboard. To the Swan's motley crew, the tides of attraction clearly flow between the two of them. Yes, everybody but the two of them know that they're falling in love. It's great. Teaching her the charms of a lady, they hope to build her confidence she needs to attract not only their lonely captain's attention, but his heart as well. So she's an old maid, as we said, and she wants to do good work for her family. And her family, I believe, is the ones like contracted with this captain. But the thing is, he is undertaking kind of a nefarious thing. He's not being completely honest about the job he's going to do. So she thinks she's there to kind of like look out over this, but really she's kind of wrapped herself up in scandal a little bit. But everyone knows the greatest charms are not those of the formal lady, but rather the possibilities of a new world built on love. So this one, I enjoyed it so much. I think this is originally, let me see. This one is originally from 1999. So this is definitely a recover of this one, but this was one that was recommended by my viewers back then, and I enjoyed it a lot. This is also a very low steam one. So if you would like one of these that is on the sea, but isn't a, erotic level romance, the same with, as I said, like The Vengeance of the Pirate Queen, right? That one isn't, there's romance in it, but there's other stuff going on. This one, the romance is slow burning and great, very fiery. And it's one of those where like the heroine wins over everybody and the hero's kind of the last to know, even though he's obsessed with her. Like, it's that thing, right? That's what we have going on. And we love to see it. Okay, then for historical, we have Kidnapped by the Pirate by Kira Andrews. This is an age gap. The title says it all. Our one hero, Nathaniel Bainbridge, and so he's been concealing his struggles with reading and his desire for men, and he's under the thumb of a controlling father and Primrose Isle. So that's the young hero, sorry, I said. And then there's bitter, jaded Hawk, who harbors anger against Nathaniel's father, and so he kidnaps Nathaniel when he's on the way to to a fledgling colony where his father is going to have him get married for his gain. Nathaniel doesn't want to marry a woman. He doesn't want to lead the life his father is leading, and so he gets kidnapped by Hawk. And, at first, of course, this is bad. We're kidnapped by a pirate. But not only is he very attracted to this pirate, and this pirate is, I believe the way that this was is that this pirate is kind of out within his men, that like he is... because he's had male like partners before and he's the captain of this boat, so screw them, he can do what he wants. But also like Nathaniel then is staying in his cabin to be kept safe and everything, and when Nathaniel is attracted to him, Hawk notices that and he's like, well, I mean, we can experiment while you're my captive. That's fine. So definitely that will feel like some dubious consent. I think when you read it, you'll see that, of course, there's a power dynamic that exists in any that's going to be a captive, but this was still a very sweet romance between the two of them. And, Nathaniel being kidnapped by Hawk ends up being like the best thing that could ever happen to him, right? Then there is No Rest for the Wicked by Lauren Smith, and this is actually a whole series, The Pirates of King's Landing, and there's 3 books in the series. I've read the first 2. I have not read the third one yet, but I love these. The audiobooks are really great, and this one has Roberta Harcourt, who she's trapped on a ship with pirates when like the ship gets taken over by pirates, and she hides and she dresses as a boy. Only the captain, Dominic Gray, he immediately clocks that it's a woman, and he's like, you can keep, you can share his bed and maintain the life as a lady, or she can sleep on the floor of his cabin and be the cabin boy. And so she refuses to be seduced. So she's like, okay, I'm going to wear breeches, and because it's like, he doesn't want anyone else to attack her, but he's like, you can warm my bed, or else you can be a cabin boy. What do you want to be? And she's like, I'm not losing my virtue to you, you naughty captain, you naughty pirate. And so she becomes a pirate's boy. And so he's a little bit stunned that she's willing to do that. And he's like, dang it, I thought living as a cabin boy and sleeping on the floor would make her want to sleep with me, right? But yeah. So the thing about Dominic, though, is that he was actually kidnapped and sold into indentured servitude in the West Indies. And so he has a bit of sympathy for her because, you know, this happened to him when he was a child. And so the thing is, too, is even though he had like threatened to take her to his bed, it was more like he was giving her a choice because he knows what it's like to have that choice taken away. But she is still captive. So, and yeah, so she's supposed to marry a English officer, and it's not somebody that she wants to be paired up with at all. So he's kind of doing her a favor by kidnapping her. Again, look at that, 2 in a row where we're saving him from a marriage that we don't want. But I really enjoyed this one. Book 2 in the series, which is In Like Flynn, actually involves a naval officer going undercover as a pirate to try to catch a bigger pirate. And that one's great, and it's narrated by Shane East. So you should definitely check that out if you're interested. Okay, so then we are I'm going to do the one I have that like isn't pirates at all, but it's still like at the sea. And then we'll go into the few that I have that are sea creature type. So the one I have that this is a captain, but like modern day, and it's not pirates, is Surviving Rain by Shea Savage. This is a great one. This is a throwback one for sure. I actually was lucky enough, I have a signed copy of this one. I love it. So this one, there's a captain of a schooner that caters to shipping around, captaining the ships of the elite in the Caribbean seas. And so Sebastian is our hero, and he's a drunk, sad guy. He pirates his ship, and then he drinks his vodka, and that's what he does. And then on his schooner, he ends up, it capsizes, and there's only him and one passenger who survive, and that is Rain. So Rain's young, she's cute, and Bastian would probably be into her if he wasn't suffering from alcohol withdrawal. Which is so cute. And as the days passed, starvation and dehydration become the norm. Even the most closed person starts to open up when he thinks he's going to die. But when she realizes their traumatic pasts are connected, it's no longer the elements that have Bastian concerned. He has no idea how he's going to survive Rain. So this is really great. And this one, as I said, is a survival one. It's first on a boat, then we are just on a, you know, like kind of a dinghy lifeboat, and then it's actually a bit of an island survival too, so they are shipwrecked for a little while. So this one has a bit of all of those things, and if survival or shipwreck romances are something you're into more, I actually have a whole video about those, so check that out. But I wanted to connect that one because it kind of has both. Like there is a time where they're stuck on the boat together surviving and everything. Okay, now we're just going to do 3 that have sea creatures. And only one of these really takes place on the sea, and you'll see what I mean. So that one, of course, is Treasure of the Abyss by Tiffany Roberts. And this is the beginning of like their Kraken series. Now, I've only read the first 2 books in the series, and they were actually the first Tiffany Roberts that I ever read, right? Before Ensnared, before any of their alien stuff, I read this. And I didn't enjoy them too much back then, okay? I was a wee lass as it comes to monster romance. I'd really only read the Big Blue Aliens before. And then I tried the Kraken because I was trying all of these ones that had like the weirdest stuff, okay? But as I soon discovered, and as I always say about Tiffany and Robert, is they write some of the sweetest romances I've ever read, okay? So it doesn't matter how scary or how weird they look, as you get to know them, you really fall for them, right? And that's how I feel about this story. So there is Treasure of the Abyss, and there's a whole series of these from Tiffany and Robert. Then we have Stalked by the Kraken by Lillian Lark. And so this one is about a witch matchmaker. And this is actually the one that's kind of like a standalone that starts off her the Monstrous Mates series. So it's not listed as book 1 in the series on Amazon, but this witch who does the matchmaking, she is kind of in all the other books because she's the one setting up a lot of these matches. And she is very surprised when she discovers her own match is the only one of his kind left that they know of, this massive kraken. Now he can disguise himself as a man, and it's only when he's like in water and when he changes that he can turn into a kraken and then have his tentacles that we can do do everything you think they're going to do with them. Okay, like, let's be honest, they do the things you think you're going to do with them. It's great. But yeah, they end up making a sex contract, and really the kraken knows that like she's his mate. But in her mind, she just can't believe that because she can't see her own match. You know, it's one of those things of like, she has this matchmaking gift, but she can't like see her own. But she's very attracted to him. So they end up making a sex deal. And then the kraken is going to use this to prove like, that they're supposed to be together. So they're stalked by the kraken. And the reason why, like, this one doesn't really take place on the sea, but the bathhouse is where a lot of these matches happen. And the bathhouse is magical, where the different mates meet there, and when they have sex, the sexual energy that they let loose kind of like powers this place. So there are these magical baths that literally people have sex in. So we definitely get to see his kraken self come out, but it's not like the only thing. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay, sure. Okay, and then the last one I want to mention is Jumping the Shark by Ash Raven. And this one doesn't really take place, like, it doesn't take place in the sea at all. This is an alien romance. It takes place in space. However, our shark daddy, once he has found his mate, and he actually takes her back to his home planet to make her his mate, and there's a bit of daddy shark, baby human going on here, little girl human going on here. He does, of course, have a massive pool, and he also has 2 dicks because the sharks are double-dicked. Yes, they are. And there are scenes in the water, so there's that. But this was one that I saw this cover, and it completely stole my heart, okay? And I had to have it, all right? I had to. And I loved it. It was so fun. But it is exactly what you'd think the title was, and it gives you exactly what it is. But he is a sea creature, he's a shark, and he's very caring and sweet, and I love him. So, there you go. So, if you want to read any of these pirate / siren / sea creature romances, I have the links to all of them down below. Please check them out. Make sure that you subscribe to my channel, like this video if you want more recommendations. I put up 4 videos a week. It's on Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday that I put up videos. You don't want to miss out. If that's still not enough content for you, please check out my Patreon, where I put up bonus videos and vlogs that only they get to see. And yeah, and make sure you check out my Patreon right now, even if it's for free, because I have some giveaways going on there for my birthday month, because March is my birthday month. So check that out. Thank you so much for watching, friends, and we'll see you next time. Bye.